Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright. Yep.
Yeah. I got something.
That's
for
amazing.
Him.
I did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
What's going on, everybody? Tuesday night here on A2D Radio. This is the Lazy Booking Podcast, hosted by myself, Chrome, and my compadre here, Mr. Eric Archer. How are you, brother?
What's happening? What's going on tonight? What do we got?
Oh, not too much.
Who do we got?
On. Yeah, listen, a very exciting show tonight. We're happy to welcome a special guest, one of the most influential creative minds in the history of professional wrestling. Right now, currently working with JCW, the Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and doing a lot of great work as always. Mr. Vince Russo, what's up, brother?
Woo!
Yeah. Bro, I got to, I'm looking at myself here. I got to apologize for my bedhead because, guys, you got to understand, at my age, I need to take naps before I do interviews. So I took a nap right before this show, so I got a little bit of a bedhead going on, so I just want to apologize for that, my friend.
Oh, you're good, brother.
Look good. Yes.
Have you seen this beard? It looks like I've been laying flat on it for probably the last 10 months. So you're all good, brother.
Very nice.
But hey, we're happy to have you on. We're excited to talk to you this week and next week. Vince is going to join us. This week, we're going to talk about a very specific topic, something, Vince, you've talked quite a bit about. It's going to be the John Cena Farewell Tour, as well as the upcoming Saturday night's main event. First and foremost, though, we're brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. Find him in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and you can find him on the web at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Any aches, pains, anything brand new or long-lasting, contact him and his award-winning team, and they will set you on track to get you back in your best physical peak. Vince, we were talking about it beforehand, and we let you know it's A2D, Agree to Disagree Radio. What we like to do to kick off every show here is start with an agree or disagree statement.
Got it.
And I feel like this one's going to be a really good start here. So our opening statement for tonight is WWE's John Cena Farewell Tour has been satisfactory. Agree or disagree to that statement? And wherever you guys are at, Facebook, YouTube, X, please comment in, like, subscribe, follow, and most importantly, really join the conversation.
Yes.
We'll pop some comments up for Vince to react to if he's feeling froggy, and we're going to talk about whatever you guys want. But yeah, how do you feel about that, Vince?
Okay, satisfactory.
Yes, I was very specific with the terminology.
Chose the term wisely.
It doesn't matter. Absolutely disagree. Like this was god awful. You almost would have to purposely write for it to be this bad in order for it to be this bad. This was, I'm going to say, the absolute worst it absolutely could have been.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
So I'll go next here. I'm going to disagree. If we said a success, I would 100% disagree to this, but I'm going to agree to the poll for this reason. I believe it depends on what your expectations are going in, right? To me, satisfactory was seeing what John Cena has been over the last couple of years. I mean, for all intents and purposes, what he has done is he's been a guy that's been a shell of himself. He's done the job for people. He started to look a lot older. It just seemed like we were just putting him out there, right, to put him out there and get a cheap pop, right? And I know that there's specific events that we're going to talk to you about. But I feel like when I look back at this, and we're talking, 36 dates, I felt like we got enough matches that when I sat and I watched and I said, I felt like we had the clocks turned back a little bit. And then on the other side, we're going to talk the heel turn probably in a minute. I think Eric's going to bring it up. I have a comparison that I think was around the time where you were with WWE, or maybe you just went to WCW, that I look at and I think we got moments and we got flashes, and We had promos that I saw was some of the best work he's done in so long. That as a whole, there are holes all over the place. I don't disagree. But I had enough really high moments that I felt satisfied with what I got.
So you guys hear that? Is that like
That's not me, bro. They're booing you out of the building. That's not me.
oh no.
Yeah.
All right.
Boom before I even get started.
I'm not. I am not responsible for the fan base that just booed you out of the building. I am not responsible for that.
All right, I'm out of I gotta go.
I'm hearing everybody out with a very, very open mind.
I love it. Okay.
So a lot of ebbs and flows in this entire saga, right? So started off really strong. Just kind of went from 10 to 0 and a lot of just like good stuff and then not so good stuff and I feel like I'm leaning the fence here a little bit. I guess I would say but I'm gonna disagree to the poll only because the start of it and where it's gone and kind of the things that Cena's been saying regarding kind of giving back, I don't think he's given back enough to young talent. And I think, and we're going to talk about it later with the tournament. We kind of talk about it on the side, Chrome and myself about with our friends talking about where, who has he made better as we've gone along. And, you could argue Dom Mysterio, but I think looking at, some of the younger stars they have at NXT and some of the guys that they don't utilize enough, maybe, there was an opportunity there to build them a little more, especially in that tournament where you had 16 guys and there were some flashes of, guys coming back and then some of the talent that they currently have on the roster and somebody who is going to be facing John Cena, who may not even need it because he's already been established. So I'm going to disagree just because, but I think there was some good things, but I think there just wasn't, I think what they were trying to accomplish just wasn't accomplished completely.
Yeah, listen, we're on different pages here, guys, because this was horrible. And listen, here's where I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Bro, listen. People always say I'm critical of the WWE. I cannot tell you how many times I say I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And here's what I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and here's where I'm going to bury them. Okay? Here's the benefit of the doubt. Going into the John Cena heel turn, everybody was on board. And how do we know everybody was on board? All you have to do is watch Unreal. When you watch Unreal, everybody was on board. You see Hunter standing there when Rock is going over the promo with him and Rock is doing this. So we know at one point everybody was on the same page. We know that. Okay. Here's the reality. Something went horribly wrong. And I'll tell you what I think the horribly wrong was. Guys, you got to go back to a year prior when Rock wanted it to be him and Roman Reigns. And then, the internet wrestling community and the marks and, Dave LaGreca threw on his freaking girly robe and there was such an outcry and how Cody's got to finish the story. Cody's got to finish the story. Okay. So at that point, that is number one. Now Rock's overruled. Okay, because we had already set it up in ring. Remember when Cody said, I'm going to destroy you, but it's not going to be for the title. Here's what the plan was going to be. Cody was going to take the Lola Falana from him, and then Rock was going to take the title. That was the plan. But the internet wrestling community, LaGreca in his robe, Cody's got to finish the story. Rock got... If I know Rock, you guys got to understand Rock. So me knowing the Rock the way I think I know the Rock was convinced in his mind that the right way to go and the money match was him and Roman Reigns, because Rock is probably thinking casual wrestling fans and not the internet wrestling community. So when they started overriding Rock, knowing Rock, he probably just said, F it. Go ahead. Go do whatever you want. Okay. That was first major disagreement. Now we get to the Cena heel turn, and there's a second major disagreement, because whatever that disagreement was, from that point going forward, Rock pulled himself out of everything. So that's why, okay, bro, there was a track record. The first time you brought me in, I suggested we do it this way. We started going down that road. Then you changed it. Now I'm suggesting we do it this way, and something came up, and Rock just pulled himself out of everything. Now, that's where I give them the benefit of the doubt, because, guys, shit is going to happen. There's no question about that, bro. Shit is going to happen. Shit is always going to happen in wrestling. People aren't going to agree. People are going to get hurt. Shit's always going to happen. But here's the problem. At that point, when you're not going down that road, now you've got to pivot. Now you got to go to plan B. It happens all the time writing wrestling, guys. There was no plan B. They were not prepared for a plan B. So now we go from week to week to week to week to week with no story, no angle, and everything is meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. Whereas by the time we get to the last match, quite frankly, I don't even think John Cena gives a shit. So, like I said, I give them the benefit of the doubt. Shit happened with The Rock. Clearly, whatever happened in the back, I believe there's a huge power struggle between Rock and Hunter. And I think Triple H continues to bury himself. And at the appropriate moment, I really do believe he's going to be out of there, and we may see Rock in there. I believe that. But Rock also just got nominated for a Golden Globe today, so I don't think wrestling is really number one. Bro, honestly, bro, if wrestling were a high priority for The Rock right now, Triple H would not be there, as far as I'm concerned. Thank God. Thank God for Triple H. Rock still wants to act. Rock just got nominated for a Golden Globe. Congratulations. But, bro, the failure to pivot and the failure to come up with a solid plan B, from that point going forward, this, in my opinion, has been an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page with that, right? And I'm glad you brought up Unreal, because you're right. When you watch that, everybody says, well, I called this person, then we went to this person. It's the whole big web, right?
Right.
Yep. We're connecting all the strings to make sure everybody who needs to know is in the know.
Yep.
I'm very curious to see at what point, because again, I don't know if Rock totally pulled himself out, or there was just some sort of a misunderstanding that he was not going to be a part of WrestleMania. You're probably more right. At some point, something happened and he pulled out on it. But it is very odd to me.
Bro, here's why I know he pulled out. Here's why I know. Because, bro, at a point, bro, he went absolutely silent on social media. Did not mention the WWE. Bro, meanwhile, you got to understand, this guy's on the board. Guy's on the board. He's making millions and millions of dollars from the WWE. He said nothing. He never put Cena over. He never promoted anything. He went air silent on social media. So that tells me this guy was pissed off and said, you know what? Go do whatever you want to do, but just know that, number one, I'm not going to be a part of it, and number two, I sure as hell ain't going to promote it, because he promoted nothing after that.
Yeah, I think he went on McAfee the day after WrestleMania, and he kind of explained it where he was like, "My job is done. I'm here you go." And it just didn't sound like it was the thing that they were going to do. It just felt like out of nowhere he was just making
that was the piece that took you back, because it was wait,
yeah, and
he sounded like there was never a plan for him to move forward, and it's like, what?
And that's where he made the separation. Right there, he made that separation. And when he talked about moving on, bro, he never promote them. He never put anything over. He never showed up again. So that tells me, without a shadow of a doubt, there was a personality conflict, and 99.9% it was The Rock and Triple H.
Yeah. Now we'll back up a little bit to Elimination Chamber, where the actual heel turn took place. And say what you will about what happened and all that stuff. Vince, do you think that moment itself, just the moment itself, compares to the shock value? I have a hard time trying to find something over the last modern era, probably the last 20 years, that was as shocking as that moment is concerned. Just the moment itself. Do you think that that moment helps or hurts Cena more as far as his legacy is concerned?
I think it hurts Cena. Guys, a lot of this, and again, man, I'm a writer and a producer.
Yeah.
And that's how I always look at everything. Okay. A lot of this is the failure in the writing and the producing and, just the orchestrating of all this. That's the failure, because guys, listen, man, people are comparing this to Hogan. Right off the bat, they built that. There was going to be a third guy. They built that up. They set the table. Setting the table is something very, very important in wrestling. They set the table. Hogan comes out. You think Hogan's a babyface. This is all the setting of a table. And then, Hogan's the heel. That was a plan. They talked about that. They were able to pull that off successfully. There was no build to this. There was The Rock getting, trying to get, to Cody, join the dark side, whatever, the old Darth Vader. There was that. Cena was not involved in that in any way, shape, or form. So if I'm writing, and that's the road I'm going down, the word I keep looking for is execution. The road I'm going down, if that's the way I'm going, I am building to that moment to really, for two things. Number one, to make it a holy shit moment. Okay, and it was. You can make anything a holy shit moment. Anything. Becky Lynch turning on Seth Rollins is a holy shit moment. Mm-hmm. But here's the key, most important thing. Bro, it's got to make sense. I've got to understand why that happened. It's got to make sense. So yes, they created a holy shit moment, but they created a holy shit moment that didn't make any sense. That was the problem. And bro, that is all in the writing and the execution.
Yeah, I mean, I've made the comparison, right? I think anyone who compares this to the Hogan heel turn at WCW is out of their mind.
Right.
I think it more correlates to when you go back to WrestleMania 17, right? And execution is the key word you use there. Because I look at Austin turning on The Rock and turning heel, right? I think in hindsight, all these years later, obviously the follow-up and execution of the storyline after the fact was not good. However, when you look at the moment, though, people still go back, and WrestleMania 17 is still highly regarded as one of, if not the number one of the top 2 or 3 Manias of all time. And that's a moment that lives in infamy in its instantaneous space. And that's kind of where I feel like this lies. The execution is awful. And the fact that it carried on, they should have pulled the plug for WrestleMania and pulled Travis Scott out of this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And they could have figured out a different way to do that at Mania. Because I think the fact that they still carried that on at WrestleMania, it hurt your main event, what your most anticipated matches of 2 nights. But I digress on that. But I still think that the moment and the shock, and you're right, you can come up with a lot of shocking moments, but there isn't many John Cena turning heel, Hulk Hogan turning heel, Steve Austin after joining Vince McMahon. Not many of those types of moments. And that's where I think there will be a place for this long term. but 100%, the execution was terrible.
Yeah.
And they took way too long to pivot from it.
Yeah, I don't think long term, bro, because of the follow up. Listen, man, a long time ago, I have labeled, guys, I'm a writer. Okay. Triple H is the king of pops. That's what I call Triple H, the king of pops. What that means is he knows nothing about writing. He knows nothing about building an angle. He knows nothing about execution. Guys, we just had a Survivor Series. I want to, yeah, I'm a Triple H hater. No, I'm a bad writer hater. Because let me give you an example. We had a maxed man screw the baby faces at Survivor Series. We've now gone 2 weeks in a row and none of the baby faces have even appeared on television. That's god awful. You should be fired, because you know what that tells me? So the baby faces don't care who screwed them in war games. They don't give a shit. They care so little that they don't even show up for the show. So what you've done there is now you've buried your baby faces. You've absolutely buried your baby faces. Triple H is a one-trick pony. He is the king of pops. Everything he does, because he can't write a story arc. He doesn't know how to build momentum. He doesn't know cliffhangers. He doesn't know how to build suspense. So it's all about the pop. Cena's heel turn was a pop. Just like Nikki Bella returns. That's a pop. Here comes Brock Lesnar for the 89th time. That's a pop. That's how Triple H writes. So because it was so weak after that moment, it's going to become an unforgettable moment compared to the NWO, which you will never forget, because after the Hogan moment, they wreaked havoc. Bro, I can still remember Kevin Nash darting Rey Mysterio on the side of I can still remember that because they followed up with that. This is not going to go down in history because it went south so fast that nobody's going to even remember it. That's my opinion, bro. And again, every place I come from is really a writer's perspective. That's where I come from.
Yeah, no, listen, I can't disagree with your point on that. I'm not in the inner circle, so I don't know in terms of Triple H, but as a writer, I can see the frustration in certain things. As a consumer, there's been a lot of frustration on these things. But obviously with the inconsistencies, though, again, we talk about, so what are your thoughts on the opponents that he's had then? Because, obviously they had to figure out a way to pivot, right? So I imagine that Rock pulled out pretty quick, and then John Cena starts to talk about how, it was a toxic, which I actually thought was probably the best part of the creative, because he wasn't wrong. He actually had a gripe with that, is that it's a toxic relationship. I've given to you for 20 years, and you guys just do nothing but boo me out of a building, tell me I suck, and tell me I can't wrestle. The flip side is it's almost like a heel complaint, right? It's kind of like what they do with Drew, where sometimes like you look at Drew and, he's big and he's nasty, but he kind of makes some points, So it's like, but it felt like they then shifted from storyline driven to opponent. I mean, I know they had a couple, CM Punk, and a lot of it predicated off of past history, right? But it did bring out a lot of the best in him in the in-ring work. So what is your opinion on the pivot to let's focus more on these opponents and focusing on the match quality of things? I feel like that's how they tried to recover.
I don't give a shit about the match is fake, bro. Like I could give a shit. It's fake.
I know.
It's a fake.
And I've heard you say it all the time, right?
So that meant absolutely nothing to me, bro. Let me tell you something. He listen. When you're not creative, and I would love to see Triple H's resume that makes him creative director or whatever. Show me your resume, bro. Show me what you wrote. Show me your college degree. Show me all that stuff. No, bro, it doesn't exist. So here's what happens. They go back to what they know. And what do they know? Wrestling. So now we have no story. We don't have a clue what to do. So now we're just going to give you wrestling matches. AJ Styles and John Cena is going to tear the house down. I hate to break the news to everybody. There's a very, very small niche audience that cares about that. The casual fans and the millions and millions and millions of people that they've lost since the Attitude Era could give a shit about a fake freaking wrestling match. So that's what they do, bro. They go back to what they know. And what do they know? Wrestling. Gunther. Oh, bro, Gunther and John Cena is going to be a barn burner. Okay, bro, first of all, let me make one thing perfectly clear. I am a fan of Gunther and John Cena. I am a fan of both of these guys. There's only one problem, bro. Sami Zayn beat Gunther. Okay? Sami Zayn beat Gunther. So why does this match mean anything? It means nothing, bro. It means zero. You actually think now that Gunther beating John Cena is going to give Gunther the rub when you had Sami Zayn beat Gunther? Bro, casual fans don't forget that shit. Every time I look at Gunther now, as much as I am a fan of the guy, it's like, bro, you lost to Sami Zayn. Like, bro, I'm going to be 65 in January, and I swear to God, it's 50-50 whether Sami Zayn could beat me. And he lost to freaking Gunther. Bro, that's what they don't understand. They want you to forget that shit, but casual wrestling fans don't forget that stuff, bro.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think of the creative of things, right? I just literally had this conversation because of, you look at like an AEW or WWE did this with Asuka coming out of NXT, where they're unbeatable. They can't be beaten. They're monstrous. And then they lose one wrestling match, and it's like they can't win. All of a sudden, they can't win a damn match.
Right.
It happened with Asuka. She lost for a year after being undefeated for 4 years.
Yep.
She hasn't recovered since. She's
right. And John Moxley was AEW's world champion. He lost to the Hangman Page at All In or All Out, whatever the hell it was. There's so many. And now he can't win a match
because they don't know how to keep people elevated. And let me tell you why they don't know how to keep people elevated, bro. Because everything's about the match, and the clean finish. Bro, when you have the clean finish, it's story over. It's story over. That's why you have the fuck finish. That's why you have screw job finishes, to give the heel the out. So there's an excuse because, bro, we talk about Gunther not only losing to Sami Zayn, he lost to Jey Uso.
Yeah, he tapped out.
Right. So what does it matter? It means nothing for him to beat John Cena, because if you're going to beat guys clean because you lack creativity, that is going to hurt them, bro. Bro, you go back and you watch the Attitude Era, the most popular era in the history of wrestling. Bro, the only time there was a clean finish was at a pay-per-view. There was no clean finishes on Monday Night Raw. Every freaking match had a run-in, interference, something happened, because that's how you protect people losing, bro. Once somebody gets beat in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, bro, now you're taking them down a peg. And especially if you're really not a writer like a Tony Khan or a Triple H, you don't know how to rebuild these guys. That's the problem.
Yeah. One of the guys that I've noticed that you were saying a couple weeks ago on one of your shows was that you were impressed. The best wrestler in the WWE right now is Logan Paul. And Logan Paul had a series of, he had the tag match with Cena, and then he also had a match with Cena as well. Just want to get your thoughts on, Logan Paul, as far as, maybe not those matches, but where he's at. And do you like the direction he's in with the vision with Paul Heyman? You think it helps him, or you think, bro, he's better off on his own?
Here's the thing, and it's 100% freaking politics. This is how the walrus keeps his job. Bro, none of those guys in the freaking vision need Paul Heyman. Not one of them. None of them need Heyman. That's how Heyman keeps his job. Put me with this guy. Put me with that guy. Bro, how about we put you with somebody that's not over, and we see if you get them over? How about if we put you with Carmelo Hayes? Let's put Paul Heyman. Bro, Bronson Reed was on the verge of getting over when he was tsunamiing everybody. Then he got hurt. So, of course, when he's coming back, there's Heyman. Put him with me. Put him with me. Put him with me. I don't know why you would put Braun, unless your name is Rick or Scott Steiner. I don't know why you would put anybody with Braun Breaker. If you want to put Braun Breaker with his uncle and his father, I got no problem with that. That would be as entertaining as it can possibly be. But there he is with Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman knows Braun Breaker's getting over. Put me with Braun Breaker. Then Logan Paul, of all people, a guy that doesn't need anybody talking for him or doing anything, you're going to put. So you've got 80% of a roster not over, and you're going to put what's supposed to be the greatest manager in the history of wrestling with 3 guys, and none of them need him? Does that make sense to anybody?
No, I mean, so that's what you're kind of making the point as the argument I've been making for this masked person, right? I'm assuming it's theory. I just look at the physical build of the person and what makes the most sense. And it's one of those things where if you looked at this 3 months ago or 2 months ago when they kicked out Seth Rollins, you talk about the IWC said, oh man, Theory would be perfect for this group. And he would be great, have Paul Heyman talking for him and this and that. And now it's like, oh, it looks like you're going to get that. And everyone's like, well, that's a disappointment. What's he going to do for the group? And I look at it and I say, I kind of want this for him, because I think what happened to him is what happened to Drew McIntyre. He got put behind the 8 ball to start because he got that Vince, you're the next guy rub, right? And immediately fans started rejecting that. And it was just a tailspin of force. And I thought actually some of the stuff he did with Grayson Waller, the pairing was good. Then he got hurt. I thought they were getting a little bit of steam. He gets hurt. Bringing him back and having him come back, honestly, I didn't even think they needed to put the damn mask on him. I do think he's a guy that makes sense to be in that group. I don't think the Logan Paul is a long-term thing. I think this is, we're going to jump to here, but that's going to get to here, whether it's a face turn for him or, where you get him and Braun versus each other. But I do look at the group where you talk about young guys with Paul Heyman. I think Theory is a guy who would make a lot of sense for him to work with.
Yeah, but again, bro, I'm a casual fan, bro. I'm talking casual fan.
Yeah.
It's revealed that it's Austin Theory, and I'm a casual fan, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? Now I'm really not going to watch. That's what a casual fan is saying. I'm going to tell you guys again. If Theory's healthy and you want to bring Theory back and you want to tell a story and you want to start getting Theory over and then you want to do something like that, fine. No problem. You're building to it. You're building Theory. For this guy who has never been over, ever, to be as out as long as he has, and now you think he's going to take off a mask and be instantly over? Bro, that's your King of Pops again. That's your King of Pops. Guys, I could tell you.
I agree with you on this, by the way. It should have never came down to a mask guy.
I just want to tell you guys, when Rock joined heel and joined the corporation, bro, that was a 3-month build. Go back and watch the 3 months prior that we knew we were going to do that. That was a 3-month build. So if you're going to do this with Austin Theory, who was not over before he got hurt, bro, you got to bring him back and build him and start getting him over, and then you do it. They're putting Austin Theory again in a no-win situation. I mean, you expect they're going to pull this guy's mask off and that reminds me of Jim Cornette. Oh, bro, put somebody in a box. Anybody coming out of a box is over. Yeah, bro, anybody that takes a mask off is over. I don't know what world you live in. And you know what, bro? Here's the thing. All the heat's going to go on Austin Theory. It's not Theory's fault. It's the freaking writing, bro. The writing is atrocious.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, no, I was just going to Rue says Jericho would be the only reveal that would cause a big buzz. Milk it until next year when he signs. I don't know if Jericho's able to climb that cage.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Rue.
Oh yeah,
they've killed that. You know, like the way he's climbing in that cage and doing that. Like, if they want to turn around, that would say it was Jericho all along. Like it would be freaking hysterical. But yeah, bro, like seriously, I mean, if you know you're getting Jericho. And, you know, obviously he's not doing Superman type shit. But if you know you're getting Jericho and a guy's coming out in the mask and the mask and the mask, and then it's Jericho, yes, huge freaking pop. But Jericho's got a how many year career and a history, and he was over all those years, and he would be coming from another company. To put it on a guy that was never over when he was there, and then he comes back, he's healthy, and you don't do anything with him, you're setting the dude up for failure, bro, and it's not going to be his fault.
Yeah. Now, going back to talking about WrestlePalooza, right? I know WrestlePalooza was not very critically acclaimed, I would say, and I think Chrome and I agree that a lot of that was kind of put together due to ESPN and trying to get viewers. And I know you've talked about that a little bit with I saw they need 1 million subscribers a month or something like that.
Yeah.
So Cena had an interview with Chris Van Vliet that premiered today, and he talked about why they decided to do the squash, the 8-minute squash with Lesnar. And
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear this. I have not heard this. Let's hear it.
So he said he wanted to build Brock up to build a mountain for someone else to climb that needed to shine more than him.
You know, I got to tell you, I love John Cena to death. You talk about a pro's pro. I always say, guys, there are two people that I wish I could have worked with two people, John Cena and Bray Wyatt. I would have done anything to work with both of those guys. Bro, I got to be honest with you. As much as I love Cena, bro, at some point, Cena's an idiot. Because what Cena is envisioning in his head and what they're actually capable of doing are two completely different things. Guys, you got to remember, John Cena put Austin Theory over. Mm-hmm. What happened with Austin Theory after that? Nothing. And if I'm John Cena, I got no problem with John Cena putting Austin Theory over at all. But if I'm John Cena and I'm looking at what you did with Austin Theory after I put him over for you, I am going to be much, much, much more selective of the guys that I put over. Because if Cena continues to put guys over and then they don't do anything with those guys, they are really, really, really tarnishing and hurting his legacy. And I applaud Cena for the good intentions. I really, really do. I applaud him for that. But again, bro, look at what happens with these guys that you're doing the favor for. They're not taking advantage of that, and they're not capitalizing off of it.
Yeah, I think because it's interesting because I do think when you look at this whole thing with Cena, him losing to that in these fashions, it does devalue, right? And it's why I felt like protecting the Cena, having those wins that he did start to get down the stretch were so important to make what's happened with the tournament at least something to fight for. Because that's one thing we really have never seen is there's no title on the line. It's a tournament to literally have the opportunity. It's like having a tournament for Undertaker WrestleMania match, right? There's just something that's supposed to be next level about it. And I do think this is where really, if that is true, because my assumption of this, and maybe, I don't know, I haven't heard what your opinion on this specific thing. I assumed there would be a follow-up, maybe Survivor Series, whether it's, a Team Cena versus a Team Vision or a one-on-one match. But I believe that maybe the Seth injury kind of just scrapped all of that. Let's start moving some of the players into different spots. And they just kind of said, all right, we're going to take the squash for what it was. It helps Brock and move on. If that really was the intention, to me, it does hurt. It does devalue, because why are we having a tournament then for a guy that just got absolutely destroyed when you see like Jimmy Uso getting in his licks on more licks than Cena did in Brock in inside of the War Games cell. So it's weird. It's a little weird to me if that's a fact.
Bro, I don't think it's weird at all, guys. Listen, I've said this all the time. I've said this from day one, bro. You cannot be a former wrestler and involved in creative. I don't care who you are, bro. I worked with Jeff Jarrett at TNA when Jeff was in that spot. Kevin Nash has been in that spot. Dusty Rhodes has been in that spot. Bill Watts has been in that spot. And now Triple H is in that spot. And here's why it doesn't work, bro. Because Triple H in that spot, he is going to have a lot of history with the people he's booking. And over the years, working with the John Cenas and the Brock Lesnars and all these people, Triple H is going to have a feeling about these guys one way or another. That is going to stay with him once he becomes the booker. That is not going to go away. I've seen this a million times throughout my wrestling career. I can go back to Kevin Sullivan. The boys are going to have some baggage having to do with some of the people that they're booking because they worked with them. Triple H could give one shit about John Cena's legacy. One freaking shit. You know where he cares about John Cena's legacy? Triple H wants his legacy to be bigger than John Cena's legacy. And I can guarantee you this. If Vince McMahon were still in that chair, who really cared about John Cena's legacy, there's no way in the world you would have saw this booking the final year of his career. Absolutely not. But there's a part of Triple H that wants to have a legacy that's bigger than John Cena's. So trust me, bro, he's not going to do him any favors on the way out. And that's the reality of professional wrestling. And people could think I'm full of shit and I don't know what I'm talking about. No, bro, I've been there. The heat between The Rock and Triple H goes back to 1996, guys. That's how far back it goes, back 30 freaking years. There's a history. And if you don't think for a second, guys like Triple H and guys like Shawn Michaels aren't protecting their legacy at the expense of other wrestlers, you're out of your mind, bro. That's how the business works.
Do you think now, with staying on that subject with Triple H, do you think part of it is the guys that he has working with him, kind of those same guys that have been there forever and ever? Do you think they just need like fresh inner blood to go in there?
The inner circle. Oh, bro, the big four need to be taken out to pasture 30 freaking years ago. Him, Heyman, Pritchard, and Hayes. Bro, as long as the big four are there, nothing's ever going to change. Nothing. They're not capable of changing anything. So yes, bro, until those four guys are replaced, you're going to see the same show over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I it is interesting. And I love that you talked about Unreal and what your perspective was, particularly the creative room. How you talked about how, you see these guys and they're sitting there in suits. You went to Vince's house and you guys were sitting in sweatpants and Vince was, ripping ass and doing whatever.
Bro, you know how it works. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to go back. No, you're good. I want to go back to Unreal because I want to explain this to everybody. Okay,
cool.
Because guys, when you've been in the business, here's what the purpose of Unreal is. In their minds, they're going to show you what they want to show you. That's their psychology. I was so excited about this because I knew you freaking idiots. For anybody that's been in the business, you're going to freaking expose yourselves and not even understand you're exposing yourselves. That's a comical. Now, guys, let me explain to you exactly what I'm talking about. Who was the guy on Unreal that said Jey Uso? Who was the guy?
That was Koski, wasn't it?
No, it was Michael Hayes.
Michael Hayes said Jey. That's
okay, right. Now, Michael Hayes was pushing Jey Uso. Guys, do you know who trained Michael Hayes? The Wild Samoans. So now it's going all the way back to a favor. They train Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes is now in creative, and Michael Hayes is pushing Jey Uso. Okay, that's part A of the story. Okay. Now part B of the story. The Jey Uso singles run did not turn out the way they planned on it turning out, because Michael Hayes was trying to return a favor for the Samoans, and Jey Uso was not the guy. Okay, that's the reality of the situation. But here's how wrestling works. So now we're back to the Usos. You saw last night's show. Now the Jey Uso experiment has gone full circle, and we've got all the way back. Okay, so now who failed? It sure as hell wasn't Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes isn't going to take the responsibility. It's Jey Uso. It's all Jey Uso's fault. That's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. There's nobody on upper management, bro, that takes responsibility for anything. Who is held accountable? When that SmackDown number goes under 1 million, who's held accountable for that? Who, bro, guys, you know professional sports. You know the Eagles, bro. You know, man, when you're under that 500 mark and now you start really getting buried, bro. The coach is gone, bro. The GM is gone. You know, heads start to roll, bro. They've been losing audience since the Attitude Era, and the same exact people are in those spots. And it's never them, bro. It's always the talent. It was Jay's fault. No, bro, it wasn't Jay's fault at all. Jay was a tag team wrestler his whole entire life. Jay is more inhibited. Jay really depended on his brother out there. His brother was like the security blanket. So as a team, they work. They grew up together. They always had. Now, bro, you take the one insecure guy out of that. That's the wrong guy for the freaking spot, bro. That's not. What is Jay going to say? No, don't put me in that spot. That's the wrong guy, bro. And if you knew him and you knew the history and you got in his mindset, you would have understood that. But Michael Hayes is trying to return a favor from 20 years ago, and now all the heat comes down on Jey Uso when it was not Jey Uso's fault. He was not the guy for that spot.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that, and I don't think they did him any favors either. No. If you were going to put him in that spot, there's a lot of creative booking issues that have gone on. I mean, again, we're looking wins and losses, I think, in the story term of what you're talking about matter. Me and Eric have been beating the drum week after week, month after month, about how Drew McIntyre, A, is constantly thrown in against Cody Rhodes, and B,
and they're doing it again.
Whether it's Cody or it's Ciampa,
bro,
he just loses every big match.
Can I explain that to you? And I think Chelsea, I think it's the same thing. This is the bulletproof curse. Okay, bro, when you are deemed bulletproof, that means that they believe that he is so good and so talented that no matter what we do with him, you're going to bring him back. You're going to put a mic in his hand, and he's going to get himself back over. That's a testament to how good Drew is. They look at Drew as bulletproof. That's why they're always beating Drew, and Drew never wins. That is exactly why. But guys, here's the bottom line. You can only do that for so long. You can only do that for so long. And bro, when you've done it enough, you kind of know, because you can listen to the people. Because bro, when you start beating somebody to death, it's just going to be a matter of time that they don't give a shit about that guy. And that's where they are with Drew. But it's that bulletproof label that they are riding that now to the point of absolutely killing that guy.
And it's rinse and repeat, because it was Kevin Owens before him.
Yes.
And it's if it's not one guy, it's another. We talked about Asuka was doing that. I think Asuka's one of the greatest wrestlers maybe ever. And they're finally booking her pretty decently now, but there were years where she was absolutely buried after they had her be indestructible for 4 years. And I don't understand that kind of a book. I mean, I guess I understand it, and you explained it very well. Yeah. But when I look at it, Drew, like, this is a guy too who, I mean, he really got the raw end of the stick, right? Because his time came, had that monster moment with Brock Lesnar right before COVID at Royal Rumble. Crowd went crazy. And it's like, oh, this might be our Mania moment right here. And then you have COVID hit, and it just took everything away.
1,000%.
And now we're looking at, you know, we've cycled back and we're here. And that's why I said the statement earlier in the show, Vince, where it's like you want us, he's mean and he snarls and he's got big muscles and he does mean things and carries a sword sometimes. So we're supposed to boo him. But then when he actually talks, you're like, this guy's kind of right. Like, he should be pissed.
Yeah. And he's great on social media too. I mean, he gets himself over like I've never seen anybody, you know, in the business. He knows what to say. He knows how to get the attention, and he knows how to get the clicks.
Yeah, listen, guys. Nothing. I'm not a Cody Rhodes fan at all. So let me just put that out there. But you're gonna tell me, bro, you're gonna put Cody Rhodes next to a Drew McIntyre and tell me Cody Rhodes is the guy? I'm sorry, bro. 10 times out of 10, Drew McIntyre is the guy. But that's politics, guys. That's what I guarantee you now, bro. Listen, guys, Triple H had visions of grandeur of being a movie star. You know, he was in Blade 3 and he was going to be this big movie star. Did not go so well. Oh, now Drew is going to go have a huge part in the Highlander series. Bro, you don't think that bothers Triple H? I promise you it bothers Triple H.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, we definitely see what you're
guys, when there are no answers to something, you know it's political. When we sit here and say, why isn't Drew McIntyre the guy? He's got it all. He's got it all because it's political. That's the only answer to it. Either, bro, it's political or these guys are totally incompetent in their jobs. It's one of those two things. And I don't want to call them incompetent. I really don't want to say they're incompetent. So I'm going to say it's political because Drew McIntyre is a guy that has everything. Everything, bro. Every tool in the freaking toolbox. But yet somebody's making the decision that Cody Rhodes is more money than Drew McIntyre. I'm sorry, bro. I don't see that.
Vince, what are your thoughts on what's going on with LA Knight, where they kind of he's over, he's having good matches, he seems like he'd be the perfect guy to elevate, and now we saw what happened last night. What do you think?
Bro, I had somebody on the current roster in a high role. I'm not talking about Dwayne Gill. I had somebody, and this is not he said, she said, this is to me directly. Triple H openly, which means in front of people, mocks and makes fun of LA Knight in the back. I had a guy in a very high spot still there in the company tell me that. And again, bro, we're looking at a guy like LA Knight that has everything. So is it, wait a minute, let me get this straight. So Triple H has problems with guys that have everything, but he'll push Sami Zayn to the moon. Really, guys, think about that. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is why you can't have a former wrestler in that spot. Guys, my God, come on, man. Triple H puts himself all over everything. The voiceover for the WrestleMania commercial for the men, the voiceover for the WrestleMania commercial for the women, on top of Caesar's Palace or wherever the hell. Bro, the dude's even opening up trading cards with Sam Roberts. Are you freaking kidding me? This is why you're seeing guys like an LA Knight and a Drew McIntyre just stay right there in the middle and not go anywhere. Look at Karrion Kross, for crying out loud, bro. That's what this shit is all about. That's why you can't have a guy like that in that spot. Bro, you know why the Attitude Era was so successful? It's real simple. There were two writers. There were no wrestlers involved, bro. There were two writers. JR handed us over the roster. Guys, here's your roster. Your job is to help all of these guys and gals get over. There were no favorites. There were no politics. If you're drawing a number, we're going with you. We're going with you. We're going with you. That's how it freaking worked. So when people are scratching after their head of, well, why ain't they doing this with Drew? What about LA Knight? He only gets so far, but never goes over the top. Why in God's name would Karrion Kross be let go? Come on, guys. How many times do you need to see it repeated over and over and over again till you understand what the frig is going on?
Yeah. No, it's true. The Karrion Kross thing was wild to me. I do feel like there's like two ends of that, because not necessarily in the creative process. But this is, again, where the IWC kind of comes in, right? Because I've always been a big Karrion Kross fan. I think he's a tremendous talent, killer Kross, whatever you want to call. I felt like people got behind him, but it was like 3 months before all this went down. And then the IWC does what they do, and they say, well, we're behind him now. And it's like as if they've been behind him for 2 years and they haven't pushed him. Like, it's not like an LA Knight situation. He's there. He is a guy who has all the tools. But I felt like that was a little bit of a different situation. And I do wish that would have, where was that support when he could have used it 6 months before then and gotten a little bit of a momentum.
Listen, guys, all three of those guys. Okay, we just mentioned three guys there. We mentioned LA Knight, Karrion Kross, and Drew McIntyre. What do all of these guys have in common? They're not going to fall in line, bro. Mm-hmm. They're not going to fall. You've heard the stories about LA Knight. LA Knight is very outspoken. We know Kross was outspoken. These are guys that are not going to fall in line. Triple H wants guys that are going to fall in line. Bro, you see the hugging and the kissing in the back during Unreal? What do you think? You think Drew McIntyre is going to stand there and make out with Triple H? Come on, bro. That's what he wants. He wants those people that are going to fall. Yes, sir. Yes, King. No, King. Yes, King. Those three guys are not those guys, bro. They're just not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
Very true.
This was a lot of fun, Vince.
Yeah.
And listen, I told you before we wrap up, we had a buddy on the show. I do it like another podcast here on ATD Radio every 5 or 6 weeks with a guy who you might know pretty well. And in our last show that we did last week, he asked that I show you this. So let me play this for you.
If I may, and if you can play this for Vince. Vince Russo is the reason I got hired in WWE when WWE was looking for more talent. They were expanding their TV programming with like Sunday Night Heat, and they needed more talent. And Vince Russo reached out to me through Al Snow about getting hired in WWE. So thanks to Vince Russo, I got to have a really good career. Vince Russo hired me for WWE. Bruce Pritchard called me. And after I hung up the phone with Bruce Pritchard, realized I was hired by WWE, I walked 20 feet into the living room. I told my mom and grandmom to put all the bills in my name because they had been supporting me up until that point. And that was my time to give back to them. So I couldn't have done that if Vince Russo didn't think to give me a job. So I'm a big lover of Vinny Russo. I hope all is well, Vinny.
Wow, that's awesome, bro. And listen, that is awesome and that is great. Meanie was a great talent. Like, come on, I'm looking at this guy and I don't think he's a great talent. Bro? Can I tell you a great Meanie story?
Please.
Sure, go for it,
bro. The Blair Witch Project is coming out. You guys know this story?
No.
I have not heard this story. No.
Bro, the Blair Witch Project is coming out. Bro, do you remember? You guys may have been young. This is a while ago. Remember when the Blair Witch Project was coming out and like social media was just starting and there was shit on social media about Blair Witch Project and you didn't know if it was real or not? You know,
Yeah,
I was in
remember
high
that.
school then, so I remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So my point is, before the movie came out, there was all this buzz about it. People thought it was freaking real. Okay. So, bro, the movie's about to come out like this weekend. In the meantime, Sable is suing the WWE. Okay. So, me and Ed Ferrara, we get Meanie and we get Stevie Richards. Bro, it's the middle of winter. We're somewhere in the backwoods of freaking Connecticut, and we film the Blonde Bitch Project.
I think I remember this.
Okay.
I remember. Yeah.
So, bro, we filmed it, bro. The greatest shit. We were up freaking Meanie's nose and boogers. You know that infamous shot, bro? Bro, me and Ed are freaking howling, right? So, bro, every time we do something like this, we got to bring it back and we got to show Vince. Okay? So me and Ed are showing Vince Meanie with the boogers up his nose, and him and freaking Stevie were freaking great. So of course, Vince, you know, he looks at me and Ed. He always has the glasses down the nose, you know, giving us one of these. So he says, what am I looking at? And we said, Vince, there's this movie coming out this weekend, The Blair Witch Project. We explain the backstory to him. We tell him all the freaking hype. And we say, this obviously is a parody of this, right? So he looks at us. He's looking at this. His exact words were this: nobody's going to go see that movie. We're not airing this. I swear to God, bro. Here's the funny thing about it, right? So, bro, the movie comes out that weekend, does record numbers. Bro, somehow, somewhere, it was either the Daily News or the New York Post. They wrote a story saying, oh, the movie was, you know, so wildly popular that even the WWF did a parody of it. Like somehow, some way they knew about this. Bro, it never aired because Vince McMahon said nobody was going to ever go see the movie. And oh my God, bro, the four of us were so freaking disappointed. It was so damn good, man. So damn good. Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's a great time.
Great dude. Great.
And I'll tell you, like what he said there, that comes from the heart. I have the pleasure of being really good friends with him. And
he's the
like
best.
I said, we do a show and he's one of the most genuine human beings.
At 1000%, bro. What a great dude. Great dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Vince, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on.
A lot of fun.
We're gonna be back with Vince next week, same time, 6:00 next week here on A2D Radio. Make sure you check out the brand. And then you also have your show with Coach.
Got Coach and Bro.
Yeah, let me just plug two things real quick if you guys don't mind. Yeah, two things I want to plug. Number one, if you've never been a brand member, bro, we give you a free week so you could try us out. Just go to patreon.com/Russo TWC. Bro, tiers start at $3, like 75 cents a week. So get your free week. Patreon.com/Russo TWC. And bro, JCW Lunacy. Guys, if you missed the Attitude Era, it's back. And you guys just got to check out the new shows. They got a YouTube channel, JCW Lunacy. New show airs every Thursday night at 7:00. I'm in the 7:00 Eastern. I'm in the chat room for the whole entire thing. If you guys miss characters and storytelling, please check it out, man. JCW Lunacy on YouTube Thursday nights at 7 Eastern.
Yes,
awesome.
Absolutely. We got to make sure we check that out.
And we'll talk about it next week.
We're going to have Vince.
Definitely want to talk about
next
it
week. I'll make sure we got a graphic up.
So that'd be awesome. Thank you guys very much. Thank you.
But no, listen, chat was hot tonight. Lots of comments in. Thank you guys for that. Thank you to our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Thank you to Vince. Thank you to Eric, Tom, at A2D Radio, and everybody out there. We'll talk to you guys next week. And for the three of us, make sure you give somebody a hug out there that you love. Let them know you love them. And you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you then.